Chapter 23. Ashes in Elyndor. The boy watched his mother stir the stew over the small hearth. The broth bubbled gently, and the scent of fresh herbs filled the single room of the cottage. The thatched roof creaked in the wind, and a thin thread of light slipped between the shutters, painting the packed earth floor with a warm glow. His sister, a girl of 14 or 15, worked beside her, slicing roots with the calm skill of someone who had repeated the motion 1,000 times. She hummed softly as the knife struck the board, rhythmic and familiar. It was a humble home, small, but filled with warmth. The door opened, and a man stepped inside with an axe over his shoulder, still flecked with wood chips. His shoulders were broad, his beard coarse, his face hardened by harsh winters. But his eyes softened when he saw his family. "We've got firewood for several days," he announced, setting the axe by the door. His wife smiled. "Good. The nights are getting colder." He leaned down to kiss her cheek and, as he passed, ruffled the boy's hair. The child giggled, clutching the small wooden bear his sister had carved for him a week earlier. Dinner passed in laughter. Warm bread, thin soup. Stories told so many times they felt like part of the air itself. When the fire waned and the shadows stretched long, the mother sent the children to bed. But the boy stopped before entering the small room where their straw mattresses lay. His father noticed. "What troubles you, little oak?" The boy's dark eyes trembled. I don't want to sleep alone. What if the monsters come tonight?" His father crouched and cupped his cheek with a weathered hand. "Here, in Elyndor, there are no monsters," he said gently. "The King's Guard watches our borders. He fights every day to keep the shadows at bay and protect us from those who prey on humankind." He glanced toward the window, as if remembering. "That's why we left Drowen. That's why we came so far. Elyndor is a kingdom of men, protected by the legacy of the great King Arendor. Here, creatures of darkness hold no power." The boy swallowed, unconvinced. "But what if they come anyway?" His sister stepped closer and offered her hand. "If you're afraid," she said softly, "you can sleep with me tonight." He nodded at once, relieved. The family settled in. The fire dimmed, the wind calmed, and the boy slept curled beside the sister who always knew how to make him feel safe. Morning broke bright, as if the world had forgotten the child's fears. He helped his father, gripping a small hatchet nearly too large for his hands. Together they chopped wood at the forest's edge, birds singing as sunlight threaded through the branches. "Careful," his father laughed. "Don't cut your foot off." "I won't," the boy grumbled, lifting the hatchet again. The log split cleanly. His father clapped, proud. Then it happened. A scream, then another. Then the dull thunder of dozens of feet running through the village. His father stiffened. The boy turned. Between the trees, shapes emerged, gray, twisted, with sunken, starving eyes, with teeth that held nothing human. Ghouls, a horde. His father scooped him up at once, seized the axe with his other hand, and ran. "Inside!" he shouted. But when they reached the village, horror was already unleashed. Screams, burning houses, shadows tearing doors from hinges, blood thick in the air. The mother burst from the cottage, pale with terror. "Run!" the father ordered. "Take the children and run for the forest." They fled together toward the trees, but the ghouls followed, drawn by scent, by movement, by life. One leapt. The father cut it down midair. Another came. Then another. The mother shoved the children forward. "Go! Don't stop!" A gray shape fell upon her. She had no time to scream. The boy let out a torn, piercing cry. His sister grabbed his arm and pulled him, until a ghoul lunged from the side and tore her from his grasp. Her body fell. Her eyes went dark. "Run!" his father roared. "Run!" One last ghoul hurled itself at him. A blow. A wet crack. Silence. The boy stood alone. The ghoul turned toward him. Its shadow swallowed him whole. He could smell its breath. He could feel death closing in. And then, steel. A clean stroke. The monster's head rolled across the ground. A knight stood before him, silver armor smeared with black blood, a longsword still humming in his hand. a cloak shredded by claws. He fought like a hurricane. Ghouls attacked from every side. He cut them down without hesitation. Another knight burst into view, 2 blades, a short sword in his left hand, a longer one in his right. He moved with perfect precision, complementing every strike of the first. "Looks like this sector is clear, Your Majesty," the second said. The first replied between blows. "Liam, we've known each other since we were boys. We're practically family. I've told you 1,000 times. Call me Arden." "I know, Majesty," Liam answered. "But now I'm your escort, not your friend. And I prefer to show proper respect to the King of Elyndor." Arden snorted, unable to argue further. When the last ghoul fell, the king sheathed his sword and knelt before the boy. "Are you hurt?" The child clutched the hatchet with shaking hands. Tears streamed down his cheeks, making his eyes look like shattered glass. My family," he stammered. "They're dead." Arden's face darkened. "I'm sorry," he said gravely. "We tried to reach you sooner, but this horde crossed the border undetected, and we couldn't stop it." He placed a steady hand on the boy's shoulder. "Protecting my people is my duty. Today I failed, but I swear to you, I will not rest a single day until no one in Elyndor ever lives in fear again." The boy looked at him and believed him. That man, that king, had fought to save him, and he spoke with the truth of a sacred oath. Arden went on, "I can never replace your family, never. But from this day forward, I will watch over you myself. You will be safe. You will grow strong, I promise you." The boy drew a deep breath, trying to still the trembling. "What is your name?" the king asked. The child lifted his gaze. His dark eyes, still wet, shone like freshly tempered steel. "Riven." The world shifted. The memory dissolved, and blue eyes blinked open. Selenia exhaled slowly as her mare followed behind Riven's horse, her wrists still bound by black iron shackles. The forest opened silently around them, indifferent to the ghost riding at their side. Riven did not look back, but the child he had been still lived behind his dark eyes. And Selenia had seen everything. A single tear slid down her cheek. Riven never noticed.